She reached past me for the coffee like I was a chair. No hello, no eye contact, just the screen in her hand lighting her face. I slid a mug toward her anyway. Saturday, I offered, keeping it simple. Walk the trail by the river. Early. No crowds. She didn't look up. I'm busy. Busy at 7 a.m.? Don't start before 8. That did it. Not the words, her tone. Like I was a reminder she hadn't turned off. Like I lived on a shelf. I stirred my coffee, watched the swirl, and felt it. Something in the foundation cracking. If I'd known where it was headed, I'd have packed a bag that morning. She took a sip, still scrolling. You left the mail on the counter. Because it's mail. I leaned on the island. Saturday, yes or no? Don't push, Mark. Not pushing. Planning. Then plan without me. I nodded once. Copy that. She set the mug down with a soft tap, as if to avoid waking her own patience, and walked out. The phone came with her. My eyes didn't. I looked at the blank space where a partner's face should have been. I went upstairs, opened the shared calendar on the wall, and drew a clear line through Saturday morning. Then I added one word in my neat block letters. Solo. That was my first adjustment. Small, but intentional. No lecture. No sulk. New rule. I wasn't applying for her time. I'd spend mine like an adult. I left the marker on the hook where she'd see it and went to work. My friend Kyle owns a small carpentry shop. I drop by Fridays. He knows when I'm in my head. That afternoon, he wiped sawdust off a stool and pushed it my way. You look like a guy who just lost a bet with gravity, he said. It's quieter at home than it used to be, I replied. Quiet can be nice. Not this kind. This is you've been muted, and she kept the remote quiet. He rested a palm on the bench. You two fighting? Not even. She's running drills. She withholds warmth and calls it balance. Speaks to me like I'm a reminder on her phone. He blew out a breath, then shrugged. So set your volume. Don't yell. Change channels. I already crossed off Saturday. Going solo. Good. What else? One more change, I said, and took out my phone. We're dividing the household account. Not punitive. Clean. Kyle smirked. You're about to become wildly unpopular. It's math. Math never wins an argument, man. The guy who keeps it calm does. Then I like my chances. He tossed me a pencil. Write it down before you talk yourself out of it. I texted her, starting Monday, separate budgets for discretionary stuff. I'll cover mortgage, utilities, groceries split 50/50ths. No surprises, no conditions. We can talk later if you want. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Nothing else. Kyle watched my face and didn't pry. That's why he's in my circle. When I got home, she was rearranging flowers in a vase, back very straight, voice sweet. You're making changes without discussing them? I'm announcing boundaries, I told her. Fewer gray areas. We overspent last month. I'm not policing grown people. So you're punishing me for buying things. Punishing would be hiding cards. I'm telling you the system. She set a stem down and looked at me like I was a slow student. You're being dramatic. Straight lines look dramatic when you're used to loops. That doesn't even make sense. It will in a week. Her eyes narrowed. You're really doing this? Already did. You could have asked. I did this morning. You were busy until 8. She smiled without warmth. Cute. I'm not trying to be cute. I'm done trading basics for tokens. Tokens. Affection that arrives with a receipt. She laughed once. You've been reading posts again. You know what? Fine. Do your little finance plan. Just don't make a scene at Claire's on Sunday. What's Sunday? The neighborhood brunch. They asked me to speak. Long story, but please, for once, don't turn it into a seminar. I didn't know I had a history of seminars. You correct people. You take things seriously. That's my crime. It's boring. I smiled. Then you'll love my new policy. Fewer words. More action. The corner of her lip twitched. We'll see. We would. Sunday arrived with 4 smiles and a yard full of folding chairs. Claire waved, overenthusiastic, and handed me a paper plate. Mark, grab a mimosa, she chirped. We're celebrating small wins. Jenna's going to say a few words. Claire is the type who turns any gathering into a stage. I tolerate her. I nodded to neighbors, kept conversation light. Jenna walked around like the host, touching elbows, making sure everyone knew she was the axis. It used to be charming. Now it looked like budgeting for applause. She stopped by me last. You good? She asked, casual. I'm always good. Try to just, go with it. Don't overthink. Not my show, I replied and stabbed a strawberry. People settled. Claire clinked a spoon on a glass. All right. Quick toast to community and, honestly, to patience. We all know relationships are work. She beamed at Jenna. And some of us excel at it. Jenna took the stage, which was just Claire's patio step. She had prepared. Dress that made a point. Hair perfect. Tone airy. Here's to my stubborn husband, she announced, holding her glass high. Who will debate a wall color like it's international policy, but, bless him, he means well. He's learning to laugh. Slowly. Polite chuckles. Heads turned my way. I set my plate down. That's one way to describe me, I said. Calm. Here's another. I keep the roof paid for and the lights on. I'm not a punchline. A few eyebrows lifted. Claire's smile froze midway. Jenna blinked. It's a joke, Mark. Then tell it without using my name. Silence. Then Kyle's wife, Amy, cut in from the back. He's got a point, she said, not looking at me. We can toast without making it a roast. Jenna recovered with a practiced giggle. Everyone is very serious today. I kept my hands at my sides. Just clear. New rule. I don't do public digs. Anyone wants to toast me, make it about something I actually did. Claire coughed. Let's refill drinks. People scattered with relief. Jenna slid up to me, smile tight. You had to do that here? You told a room I'm slow and stubborn. I corrected the record. Simple. It was light, she hissed. Light for you. Heavy for me. God, you're exhausting. I tilted my head slightly. So we're even. She turned on her heel. Unbelievable. Behind me, Kyle murmured, there it is. That's strike one, I told him. Counting already, he asked. Not keeping score. Keeping principles. He nodded. I'll get you out of here early if you want. No. I'll leave when I'm ready. I stayed 10 more minutes, helped fold a couple chairs, and left without ceremony. At home, I moved the shared calendar from the kitchen to the study and pinned it next to my desk. Access by invitation only now. At dinner, she brought out the second act. Maybe I went a little far, she started, placing a bowl on the table. I wasn't trying to embarrass you. Claire's thing needs jokes. I'm not mad, I replied, spooning salad. I'm changing the conditions so it doesn't repeat. She watched me. You're not usually this rigid. Rigid would be punishing you. I'm just installing a guardrail. She nodded slowly. Okay, then let me make it nice. She set a small plate in front of me. My favorite side dish, made exactly right. Truce. Dinner's good. Her shoulders softened a bit. I can cancel a thing and walk with you next Saturday, she added. If you still want to. I'm free either way. I'm saying yes. All right. She lifted her glass. To not being enemies. I touched mine to hers. That was her first soft pivot. An apology in flavors and future plans. I clocked it, appreciated the skill, and kept my distance anyway. During the week, she started her new routine. Hugs when she wanted something. Silence when she didn't. To-do lists that began with, if you really care, I adjusted my own. Monday, I moved my gym gear to the garage and started leaving early. No more waiting around for mood forecasts. Tuesday, I set up a lock on the study door. Wednesday, I turned off location sharing on my phone. Thursday, I sent an email to the HOA board stepping down from a committee she liked to flaunt. No drama, just schedule conflict. Friday, she tested the fence. She came in from Pilates, tossed her keys on the counter, and said, you need to dress decent tomorrow. Claire's birthday at the wine bar. No lectures. I'm not going, I answered. You weren't invited to choose. I'm declining. She laughed. You can't decline a favor. Watch me. You'll embarrass me. You'll survive. She put a hand on her hip. Do you want me to spell it out? You show up, you nod, you keep it light, and later we can. I don't know, maybe we have a nice night. But don't make me manage you. That's exactly what I'm removing from your calendar. She narrowed her eyes. Is this about money again? It's about respect. I respect you. Then stop making me a character on your stage. She took a beat. You're reading way too much into everything. And you're reading a script that doesn't include me as a person. So here's my counter. I'll be at Pete's garage tomorrow, helping with the motorcycle. I'll be home for dinner if you want to talk logistics. Not feelings, not theories. Logistics. She stared at me for 5 seconds, then reached for her water. Fine. Be stubborn. I'm consistent. The next afternoon, Pete handed me a wrench. He's a quiet guy, used to fixing things that other people break. We worked under the hum of a portable fan. She knows you're here, he asked. She knows I'm not there. He nodded, tightened a bolt. What's your plan? Stop attending events where the cost of entry is my dignity. Solid plan. We worked, and for 4 hours my head cleared like a windshield in the rain. I texted Jenna at 5, home at 6. You want Thai or burgers? She replied, don't wait up. Claire's turned into girls' night. I ate alone and didn't mind it. Sunday morning, she brought round 2 of softness. I was mowing the lawn when she walked out with lemonade, all neighborly charm. You were right about the committee, she said, handing me the glass. They pile too much on you. I told Claire you need a break. I've got your back. Thanks. And I thought about the separate budgets. It's actually responsible. I can work with it. Good. She held my eyes. Tonight, let's watch that documentary you like. I'll make popcorn. All right, I said, wondering what switch she'd flip later. That night she curled up close. We watched. She laughed at the right spots. She asked smart questions. She tucked her feet under my leg like old times. I almost forgot the pattern. Almost. Halfway through, my phone buzzed. A text from Kyle? You good? Heard Claire was poking you last night. Jenna glanced at the screen. Don't answer, she said softly. It can wait. I put the phone face down. It can. I kept my arm around her and file marked the moment. The perfect impression of a partnership, arriving right after my boundary. At midnight, she rolled away. Don't start early tomorrow, she muttered into her pillow. I need quiet. 7 a.m. is not early. For me it is. Then close the door. Unbelievable, she whispered. Next morning, I emailed HR to switch my schedule. Earlier start, earlier finish. I wasn't asking for permission at home anymore. I was setting the clock myself. Claire, for reasons I'll never understand, invited me to coffee Wednesday. I went. Foreign ground. Public place. Good test. She sat with her elbows on the table, chin in hand, wearing an expression she probably practiced in the mirror. You rattled Jenna at brunch. She opened. No warm-up. She'll live, I replied. You humiliated her. I corrected a habit. You could have done that privately. She did it publicly. Claire sighed theatrically. You're so intense. People talk. People always talk. Do you want to be liked? She asked, leaning in. Because honestly, you come off as rigid. I took a sip of coffee. I don't need to be liked. I need to be respected in my house. She respects you. She respects outcomes. Not me. That's not fair. What's unfair is being used for comic relief and expected to smile. Claire tilted her head. You know she's planning something for your anniversary, right? Big night out. Don't ruin it. Thanks for the heads up. She's been working hard. On a production. On a celebration, Claire corrected. Of what? Of you two. She could start by celebrating us in the kitchen. Claire sat back, exasperated. You're difficult. I'm precise. She shook her head. Please don't embarrass her next time. I'll do you one better, I said. I won't be there to embarrass anyone. You can't skip your own anniversary. Watch me. Claire laughed like she couldn't tell if I was serious. Don't be ridiculous. Ridiculous would be performing for your applause. I'm not on the program. She picked up her phone. I'll tell Jenna you're in a mood. You do that. I stood, dropped the 10 on the table, and walked out. If she wanted to warn Jenna, fine. Let the news travel. Clarity moves faster than gossip when you let it. That night, Jenna set the bait with gold string. She walked into the kitchen in a dress that landed its punch. So, she started carefully, I know we've been off. I want to fix it. Our anniversary is Friday. I made a reservation at the new place downtown. Private room. Our friends will be there after dessert. No speeches if you don't want. No speeches at all, I replied. Agreed. She took my hand. I want you there. Obviously. I appreciate the effort. I picked your favorite entree, she added. I thought of everything. You thought of people. They're part of our life. They're not part of our vows. She sighed lightly. It's one night. Smile, be gracious, and we regroup afterward. This matters to me. I'll think about it, I said, even though the decision was already forming like ice. She squeezed my fingers. Please don't turn this into a test. I'm not. I'm looking for respect with no conditions attached. You have it. We'll see. She kissed my cheek and walked away, satisfied she'd won my attendance. She hadn't. Thursday afternoon, I took an early lunch and drove to the lake an hour out. Sat on a bench, watched a couple of kids throw bread to ducks, and let my thoughts line up. In my head, I built a list. What I tolerate, what I change, what I leave. I didn't rage. I measured. On the way home, I stopped by a storage unit and rented a small space month to month. I loaded it with 2 boxes from my office, old photos, tools, documents. I kept it moving, no drama. That evening, she pulled the second soft pivot. She came into the study with a small wrapped box and set it on my desk. "Early gift," she said. "Open it." I lifted the lid. Inside, a watch I'd pointed out once months ago. Not flashy, practical, good quality. "You remembered," I said. "I do listen." I fastened the band. "Thank you." She studied my face. "Can we not fight tomorrow? Can we just be us? We can be us anytime there's respect." "There will be." She touched my shoulder. "Come to dinner. Sit by me. Let me fix this." I looked at the watch, then at her. "I'll let you know in the afternoon." She tried to laugh it off. "You're killing me, you know that?" "I'm saving me." She left with her smile stapled on. I set an alarm for Friday at 5 p.m. Not to get ready, to leave. Friday morning, I took a call with my foreman and pushed 2 Monday meetings up. Finished a report. Cleared my inbox. At lunch, I put a duffel in my truck with 3 days of clothes and a toolkit. I didn't hide it. I placed my wedding band in the center tray of the console and closed it. At 4, she texted, "See you at 7. Private room. It will be good. Please don't be late." At 5, my alarm buzzed. I locked the study, dropped my house key into the bowl by the door, and left without searching for words to soften the noise. The road to the lake was empty. I opened the windows and let the air fill the cab. The plan was clean. No scene, no parade, no witness stand. Just an exit from a bad play. At 6:30, my phone lit up. "Claire, everyone's here. Surprise. You better be dressed." "Jenna, where are you? Don't do this. Call me." "Claire again. People are literally waiting." At 7, a call from Jenna came through. I answered. I could hear clinking glasses and Claire's laugh in the background. "Where are you?" she demanded. Not panicked, annoyed. "People are waiting." "By the water," I replied. "Excuse me. I'm at the lake." "Are you kidding me?" "No. You can't skip this." "I can. This is our anniversary. I celebrate respect, not schedules." She went quiet, then switched to director voice. "There's a private room full of people. The chef is holding courses. You're humiliating me. I'm not attending a party where my role is to accept conditions." "What conditions?" "I told you, no speeches. I planned this for us. You planned it for you. With me as proof." "That's absurd." "It's accurate. So you're choosing to ruin tonight." "I'm choosing not to pretend we're good so your friends can clap." "You're being cruel." "I'm being clear." "You better come now," she ordered, slipping fully into command. "Get in your truck and drive. We will discuss your attitude after." "I don't take orders. Not from you. Not anymore." "You're choosing this?" "I chose this when you used me as a bit at brunch. I chose this when you tacked affection onto tasks. I chose this when you told me to be quiet because you needed quiet. I'm following through." She tried a different angle. "If you come now, we can reset. Please. I picked the wine you like. I sat us by the window. I wore the dress you always. I'm not a vending machine you feed with favors." She inhaled sharply. "People are listening. Do not do this to me. You did it to yourself." "What does that mean?" "It means I'm done being the background to your show." "What do you want, Mark?" she snapped. "A medal for being serious?" "I want a marriage that isn't a script." "Then act like a partner." I did. I set boundaries. You turned them into challenges. "You're impossible." "I'm finished. So that's it. You're just gone. I'll come by tomorrow. I'll pick up the rest of my things." She laughed, brittle. "You think you can just walk away?" "I know I can." "What am I supposed to tell people?" "The truth." "What truth?" "That you lost your audience." She paused. I could hear Claire's whisper behind her. "Put him on speaker. Make him." The line shifted. I cut in before she could perform. "Don't put me on speaker for your room." "You're embarrassing me," she hissed, mic covered. "No. I'm refusing to perform." She tried one last pivot, soft and sweet, the voice that used to melt me. "Mark. Babe. Come on. Come celebrate with me. Please." My reply was stable. "I don't celebrate disrespect." I hit end and let the darkness sit. I slept in the back of my truck by the lake with a jacket for a pillow, not because I had to, but because I wanted to remember the exact shape of the sky when I took my life back. Morning came quiet. I drove home when the sun got lazy low, like it hadn't made up its mind. The house was still. I walked in, took a breath, and started gathering. She was on the couch, hair up, face bare, posture stiff. The look wasn't sadness, it was logistics. She saw my duffel and sat taller. "We need to talk," she began. "No," I said, and kept moving. "We need to divide. Talking comes after paperwork I don't plan to file." "You're not serious. You don't want to say things we can't unsay?" "I'll keep it simple. I'm leaving the house to you for now. I'll take the cabin key. You never liked it there anyway. Mortgage stays on my auto pay until the end of the quarter. After that, you refinance into your name or sell. Utilities remain split until moving day. I'll send a spreadsheet." She stood. "You went to the cabin?" "I will." "You're not even going to try?" "I tried. I was the only one doing it." "You're quitting over a missed dinner?" "I'm leaving because you hollowed my place out and called it compromise." Her mouth tightened. "You're making a mistake." "Maybe. It's mine to make." She crossed her arms. "So that's it. You get to look noble. I get to look crazy. I'm not looking at you at all right now. I'm packing." "Wow. Cool." "Exact." She moved to block the hallway. "Move around me," she said. "If you're so sure, move around me." I set the bag down deliberately. "Move." "No." I stepped aside, opened the hall closet, and took out a small lockbox with my documents. Closed it, slid it into the bag. I didn't bump her. I didn't raise my voice. She followed me upstairs. "What am I supposed to tell my mother?" "The same thing you asked me to tell your friends. A joke." "You're cruel." "I'm consistent." She tried again, softer. "We had a plan for tonight. I was going to make dinner. Just us. No audience." "I made a plan last night. Alone. That was the point." She sat on the edge of the bed and pressed her palms together. "If I say I'm sorry, does that matter?" "Sorry for what?" "For pushing. For making you feel less." I zipped the bag. "If you have to reach for the word, it's not in your hand." She looked at the watch she'd gifted me. "You wore it." "I did. It tells time. Not history." "So that's your line now?" "Short little speeches. Short plans. Clear results." She stood again, a last attempt. "If you leave, everyone will know you couldn't handle it. You could have worked on it. You could have learned to laugh." "I know how to laugh. I just won't do it while on the gag." Downstairs, my phone buzzed. "Pete, need help with shelves at the shop?" "Kyle, got a spare room if you need it." "Amy, if you ever want to talk to someone who isn't trying to win a crowd, I make strong coffee." I replied to Pete, "Later this week." To Kyle, "Cabin first." To Amy, "Thanks." Jenna trailed me to the door. "You love me," she said. Not question, statement. "I don't love this." "You're overreacting." "I'm responding." She exhaled. "So I lose." There was nothing to win. "You're walking out on 12 years. I'm walking out on the last 12 months of disrespect." "Don't you dare say that word like you own it." "I own my part of it. You can keep yours." I picked up my keys from the bowl, fresh set, different tags, opened the door, and paused. She waited for a speech. I didn't give her one. Just a line to seal it. "Curtains down," I said. "Find a new script." I closed the door and heard it land like truth. A week later, the cabin felt like mine again. Quiet in the honest way. I fixed a loose hinge, sanded a railing, replaced a light. Work that stays done when you do it right. One evening, I drove into town and had a burger at a place with paper napkins. The waitress was my age, easy smile, direct. We talked about the lake level and the school board. Normal things. She asked if I lived nearby. "Part-time," I said. "Nice," she replied. "There's a volunteers day at the park Saturday if you're around." "I'll be there." I was. I dug holes, planted saplings, said yes to a hot dog from a grill run by a retiree who told bad jokes. It was the best day I'd had in months, and not because anything magical happened. Because nobody asked me to perform. On Sunday, I took a call from a client who wanted me consulting 2 days a week, remote. Good rate, good people. I said yes. Later, I drove the truck 2 towns over and bought a used boat with cash I'd saved because I hadn't been buying tokens lately. Small, sturdy, nothing flashy. It made sense. Kyle came up that next weekend with a cooler. He helped me clear out the old shed, and we set up a workbench. "You look lighter," he said. "I stopped negotiating my value," I answered. "Any fallout?" Claire posted a long thing about resilience and community. I grinned. "I didn't click it." "She's still in your life?" "She was never in my life. She was in my living room." "And Jenna?" "According to a neighbor, she's busy. Lots of dinners. Lots of posts. The show must go on." Hurts. Less than staying would've. He nodded. You gonna date? When I feel like it. I'm not shopping. He cracked a soda. You've always been hard to market. Good. On Monday, I got a message from Amy. You handled it clean. For what it's worth, some of us noticed. If you need an extra set of hands at the cabin, I can hold a ladder and keep quiet better than Claire. I smiled and typed back. I might take you up on that. No rush. Jenna texted once more a week later. My mother asked about you. I said you're at the cabin being dramatic. If you want to come by and talk like adults, I'll listen. I stared at the screen, then deleted the draft reply and shut the phone off. I went outside, sat on the small dock, and watched my boat knock gently against the bumper I'd installed. In the distance, someone laughed. Real, not performed. I checked my watch. Time was fine. That's the part people don't tell you about leaving when the script turns ugly. There's no victory music. No last-minute rescue from friends who suddenly get it. There's you, a clear sky, a plan you can execute, and a life that fills back in with real things. Work that pays, a house that's quiet because you chose quiet, friends who show up without coaching, and a woman you haven't met yet who doesn't need a crowd to feel seen. I paid the mortgage through the quarter like I said. Then I moved the auto pay to savings and sent Jenna a spreadsheet with dates and amounts, each line item clean. She refinanced with help from her parents, according to the grapevine. The brunches kept happening. The toasts kept coming. I wasn't in the room. She kept the nice watch ads on her feed, I'm sure. I kept the actual watch. It tells me time, not grace. I don't need a device to measure respect anymore. It shows up in how I'm treated, or it doesn't. When it doesn't, I pack a bag and go to the lake. That's my system now. No lectures. No flares. Just a straight line drawn once, then followed. It looks dramatic to people who live in loops. To me, it looks like walking out the door with my head up. The last thing I did before turning in tonight was text Pete a photo of the finished shelves. He wrote back, level? I answered, laser straight. He sent a thumbs up. Simple. I put the phone face down, turned off the lamp, and let the cabin be exactly what it was. Quiet, solid mine. The audience, the stage, the director's notes, none of it mattered anymore. The show ended the night